Big tech oligarchs, the mainstream media, and globalist politicians like Justin Trudeau are freaking out following news that Twitter has been completely blocked in Nigeria after they deleted a tweet by the Nigerian president. Days after this ban was announced, the mainstream media is continuing to panic over the news. Globe and Mail article today opens saying Nigerian politicians and activists ignoring threats of arrest are defying an official ban on the use of Twitter as the government faces a growing uproar over its unexpected attempt to shut down the social media platform. Human rights groups and Western governments, including Canada, have sharply criticized the Nigerian government for its announcement on Friday that it was banning Twitter. And again, in this case, I'm sure many watching will find the mainstream media and the government's arguments against this ban to be ironic. Strange how the same media lackeys government officials and big tech censors who've implemented the strictest, most extreme censorship imaginable against their political opponents on their own platforms are suddenly pretending that Twitter, of all places, is leading the fight in support of free speech. Here's one statement posted to Twitter by the High Commission of Canada to Nigeria, where they say, quote, "Freedom of speech used responsibly online and offline, and access to reliable information are fundamental human rights protected by Nigeria's constitution and a cornerstone of democratic life around the world." Then they went on to say, quote, "Hashtag Twitter ban, these hashtag human rights should be fully protected while preventing inflammatory rhetoric and hate speech that could fuel tension and conflict." As usual, in this case, they're basically arguing that they should be allowed to have free speech, but anything that their critics might say could be defined as hate speech or fueling tension and conflict. Even as they pretend that they're advocating for free speech, they're still pushing this obvious double standard. Here's another mainstream article on this, which tries to make a similar argument. They open saying Twitter is suspended indefinitely in Nigeria, quote, "for persistent use of the platform for activities that are capable of undermining Nigeria's corporate existence," according to a statement threaded on Twitter from the country's Minister of Information and Culture. The move comes days after the platform removed a tweet by the president, which Twitter said violated its abusive behavior policy. On Saturday, the Office of Nigeria's Attorney General and Ministry of Justice said it would arrest and prosecute anyone who tried to get around the block, and directed government agencies to cooperate with prosecutors, quote, "to ensure the speedy prosecution of offenders without any further delay." Several news reports said people within Nigeria were using VPNs to try to avoid the ban and continue using Twitter. Later in the same article, they include this post by Twitter Public Policy from June 5th, where they said, "We are deeply concerned by the blocking of Twitter in Nigeria. Access to the free and hashtag open internet is an essential human right in modern society. We will work to restore access for all those in Nigeria who rely on Twitter to communicate and connect with the world." Another quote here from the director of Amnesty International in Nigeria says, "Suspending Twitter in Nigeria is just one more way of stating that people's rights do not matter, just what the state wants. This is a dangerous precedent and must be called out for what it is." And just today, even more bad news for big tech. France has just fined Google $268 million as they begin tackling big tech ad power. CNN with the headline, "Google fined $270 million in France for unfair advertising practices." They say they will pay the fine and make changes to its huge online advertising business as part of an antitrust settlement with French regulators. The penalty comes as the tech giant faces multiple US suits over anti-competitive behavior and could lead to similar agreements with officials elsewhere. Facebook and other dominant players in digital advertising are being investigated separately by EU regulators over claims that its use of data gives an unfair advantage in the business. More info on this from the Wall Street Journal. They say France's competition authority said it had also accepted a series of proposed commitments Google made to settle the case, including promises to make it easier for competitors to use its online ad tools. While Google's commitments are binding only in France, they will become a template for how the company could resolve similar complaints from publishers and advertising technology rivals elsewhere, potentially changing how Google operates its system around the world. Again, they point out here how the settlement is also part of a broader wave of antitrust enforcement against big technology companies on both sides of the Atlantic. Last week, the European Union and the UK each said they were opening formal antitrust investigations into Facebook. The EU has also filed antitrust charges against Apple and Amazon. Google's business of brokering the sale of ads, part of a business that accounted for 13% of Alphabet's $182 billion in revenue last year, is one of the most recent and complex areas of interest for regulators. It also has long been a source of competition concerns from rivals. Publishers and ad tech competitors have complained for years about Google's ownership of some of the most widely used tools for buying, selling, and auctioning ads. They have also criticized Google for both owning and operating its own ad-supported products, such as Google Search and YouTube, saying that creates conflicts of interest that harm competition in online advertising. So this could be significant considering how until now Google has almost single-handedly been allowed to determine which news websites are allowed to receive ad revenue. This, combined with Google's history of manipulating their own search results to prop up their preferred news outlets, has resulted in Google having unrestrained power in what type of news the public is allowed to see. As they point out here in this same Wall Street Journal article, the French case stems from a complaint brought to the authority in 2019 by a group of news publishers led by News Corp, the journal's parent company. News Corp has historically been a vocal critic of Google's role in the advertising technology industry. They've since made a pact with it to be paid for its content, but remains the lead complainant in the case. Please leave a comment and tell me what you think about this latest update. If you could give this video a thumbs up, remember to click the like button, that's greatly appreciated, and make sure that you're subscribed to the channel. And again, thank you very much everyone who has been helping this channel, helping sponsor these videos with your donations over at Patreon or PayPal. It's greatly appreciated. Even a few dollars makes a huge difference and helps me keep talking about these important issues. You can find either link down in the video description, where you can support this channel directly, patreon.com/realityreader or paypal.me/realityreader. I will follow up soon. Thanks again.